Donald Trump is with us on the Savage Nation, line 10. Donald Trump, you're the only man who can save us from this insanity. We need you, Donald. You've got to become president.
There is no question about it. It's horrible. What's going on is horrible. And Hillary Clinton was there. I mean, she was there. Now she's saying what she's going to do. What can she do? She was there and led to the weakness of our country. And it's disgraceful that she now talks about what she can do. She can do nothing.
Between 2009 and 13, while Hillary Clinton served as Secretary of State, Mr. Trump, the U.S. permanently resettled 31,000 Somali migrants. As you know, a Somali Muslim stabbed 8 people over the weekend. He was only stopped by a hero off-duty cop. As Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton was in charge of screening visas for his admissions. During Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State, the U.S. resettled 680,000 migrants from Muslim nations with virtually no vetting. Donald, look, this is no longer just rhetoric for a presidential campaign. We need someone like you to save us from this insanity or we're all finished. What is it that you want to tell us that you think needs to be done when you become president?
Well, there's many things. So one thing, we'll start by not letting people come into our country. I don't know if you saw over 800 people that mistakenly were just let into our country. And so we'll start with that. I mean, what's better to start with than that? She wants 550 people more, Michael, to come into the country, 550% more, to come in over and above Obama's thousands and thousands of people. So what I'm telling you is that she's a disaster. She's been a disaster from this standpoint and from a lot of other standpoints, including trade, obviously. But it has been a very bad situation for the United States. And you know what? It's only going to get worse.
It is going to get worse because of the stupidity that we're hearing coming out of people who say we need to build bridges, not walls. Wrong. You can't build a bridge to terror. You need to build a wall between you and terror. Donald, look, you said things over the weekend that I agree with 100%. I don't know if you want to get into it right now, but you said something that makes common sense to any policeman, any detective. We need to use profiling to stop them before they do their acts. What is wrong with that? Tell me what's wrong with that.
We have to do profiling, and if we don't do profiling, we're just politically correct, foolish people. Israel does profiling. Not that they want to. There's nothing nice about it, but, you know, they want you to look at a woman who's in a wheelchair that's 88 years old and is barely making it, and let's say comes out of Sweden. She's supposed to be treated the same way as a guy that looks just like the guy that just got captured, who's central casting for profiling. And we have no choice about this. We have no choice about this. We have to start profiling. We're looking at people, and everybody's supposed to be treated equally. Well, it doesn't work that way. It's radical Islamic terrorism.
Donald, you know that this guy who was just captured for setting off the bombs in New York sued the police department for claiming persecution for being a Muslim. Did you see that story?
I did.
So, Donald, let's be clear here, and I don't want to drag you into something that's controversial. Where did he learn to sue police who were onto him before he committed an act of terror? He learned it from groups like the ACLU, Donald. There are subversive organizations in this country, I'll say it, you don't have to agree with me, who are aiding and abetting these terrorists, Donald. You have a big job ahead of you when you become president. That's all I can say. I mean, it's everywhere. These groups don't stop. They're insane.
Well, did you notice, Michael, where it said that he wasn't on any list, he wasn't on anything, he wasn't being looked at? It's possible that was so because he was a litigious person and they didn't want to get involved with him. And he wasn't on any lists, but he was very litigious, and he did sue. No, we have to change our way.
So he learned that a good method of preventing the police from getting on to you, even though you're plotting to kill or bomb, is to sue in advance and claim persecution for being a Muslim, so they'll leave you alone. That's great. But I wonder where he learned how to use our laws to destroy us and kill. I guess he learned it because he learned about the Trojan horse a long time ago. Look, Donald, I don't want you to say anything that any of the rats in the media can use against you. They're the most vicious people I have ever seen. But in addition to being vicious, I have never seen attacks against the candidate of the type I am seeing against you. But you know, want to hear the good news? The American people hate the people in the media. Their ratings are the lowest in history because they know they're liars, Donald. So all we can say is, don't let them intimidate you. Not that I think you would be intimidated by the likes of those people, but they are trying to smear you simply for stating the obvious and the truth.
Well, thank you, Michael, for that. And I'll tell you, they are horrible, horrible people, many of them. They're liars, and they're horrible people. The media is among the most dishonest group of people I've ever met. And I don't mean all of them, but I mean a lot of them. And it's unbelievable what they do, how they can take things that are perfect and just twist them around, like they took the word bomb out of Hillary's words yesterday.
Yes, she said the word bomb for criticizing you, for instinctively knowing it was a bomb. They had the nerve to attack you when she said the same thing, and they edited it out of her speech. Unbelievable. Okay, let's go to the debate if you got another 2 minutes for us in the Savage Nation. Mr. Trump, how in the world can you have a debate when you have these liberal moderators? How is that going to work?
Well, the debate is rigged from that standpoint. They're gaming the system. They're making it so that Lester Holt is petrified to ask me a question that's a fair question. And I like Lester Holt. He's a good man. And so is Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer treated me very, very tough, but very fair. And I won that debate. I guess you could call it a debate, the forum. It was essentially a debate. But everybody said I won. The polls all said I won. And, they did tests and I won. But Matt Lauer was so badly treated afterwards that what they're doing is called gaming the ref or gaming the system. Lester Holt is a good man, but Lester Holt is going to be afraid to ask me a fair question.
So how are you going to handle these biased questions like when did you stop beating your wife? They're going to do a Megyn Kelly on you. You know that in advance. I'm sure you know that. You've got an able team of people there with Steve and all the other people. So they must be working through this. But how are you going to handle such biased questions, Mr. Trump?
We'll just have to handle it as it comes. But I think people know what's coming, and it's a disgrace. And I know the system is gamed. I know the ref is gamed. And I'm not sure I blame Lester Holt. We haven't even started yet. But they're putting such pressure on him by what they did to Matt Lauer. Matt Lauer did a good job. Frankly, I thought he was tougher on me than he was on her. In fact, I left. I said he was tougher on me than he was on her, but it was at least fair. They are going after Lester Holt and everybody else. And I'll tell you what, at least people know it. That's the way we win, because at least people know it.
Yeah, but it's your voters who know it. But the blind, deaf, and dumb progressives didn't even know what they did to Matt Lauer for trying to be a fair and honest, objective moderator. They destroyed Matt Lauer. After years of liberal service, they destroyed him for simply being fair to you. I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know you're going to be able to do it. She's down in the polls, by the way. You're way up in the polls. You're surging. She's collapsing. It looks to me like you can easily win this race. The trick is, what are we going to do with the voting itself, Mr. Trump, the counting, the electronic voting? Big problems ahead of us.
I'm very concerned about that. I'm very concerned about the voting booth and what happens, because you've been reading the stories about what's going to happen with the voting, the day of the voting, and even before the day of the voting, when people send in their ballots. And one other thing, we talked about the word bomb being taken about. What about the husband with the word frequently when he made a mistake and he talked about her health? And he had the word frequently in there, and they edited out that she was frequently, and then he said, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. They took it out. They edited out of his words. And it's so sad to see what's happening here, but you know what? If we win, it will be a great tribute to honesty, that I can tell you.
Mr. Trump, we're all rooting for you. You've got millions upon millions upon millions of people who are never heard from. They don't answer polls. They're going to go and vote for you. I believe you're going to win by a wide margin. The trick is the debates and, of course, the counting of the votes. I know you can't stay with us after the break, and I'm going to let you go. But all I can say to you is we're all behind you, and we want to see you at the White House.
Well, thank you, Michael. I'm right now in Florida. We have like 30,000 people that tried to come here. They can't get in because we have 8,000 or 9,000 seats. But I will. They never report the crowds, they never report them. They always talk about Donald Trump's making a speech today. They don't say thousands of people, but we have thousands and thousands. I'm looking at them right now. It's incredible what's going on at the arena. So I did this call because you've been my friend. You've been so honest and straight and fair, and I appreciate it, and I always will.
I know you don't forget your friends, and I hope you don't forget your enemies either. Donald Trump, thank you very much for being with us on the Savage Nation.